Good evening, everybody. Can I get a mic check? What's up, Tien Bob? What's up, buddy? I miss you. Where you been? Right. I can imagine, bro. All right, let's get started, shall we? Good evening, everybody. It is April 18th, 7 p.m. Eastern. Wild day in the market again today. I would say it was a difficult day and certainly kind of strange price action wise. Um, let's look at the market by the numbers, shall we? The 10-year 2.865. Bitcoin hovering around 40,983. I wish it was 4,000. Ethereum $3,070.64 currently. WTI, really crazy ride today. Currently, WTI futures hovering around 106.92. The Dixie at its highest since 2018, I believe, 100.81. Natural gas futures receding from their highs, currently 7.874. Dow Jones down 0.11%, S&P 500 flat, Nasdaq down 0.14%, gold up 0.28%, silver up 1.25%, gold slightly higher, 0.9%. All right, so we ended the day in the red today as the indices ended kind of a sloppy session, in my opinion. The sell-off in treasuries continued on the long end, steepening the benchmark yield curve above the 40 basis points. Its highest since March. Bank of America rose after a solid Q1 earnings report and constructive commentary from management. The commodity complex saw multiple pressure across the wide array of products. Gold back at its priciest levels in a month, while the U.S. Dixie, the dollar index, hit a fresh two-year high. Natural gas futures rose above $8 today. I didn't trade them, but certainly very bullish price action. After hours, Bullard saying he's not ruling out a 75 basis point rate hike in comments after the market close. All right, so let's look at some of the significant comments today. And headlines. So on Twitter, Twitter confirming the poison pill. Elon seeking partners for his new takeover offer on Twitter. We caught that intraday, caught it early, and caught the pop. We had the Bank of America BAC quarter one net interest income 11.6 billion, 13% up year over year. They're talking about consumer spend at its highest levels in Q1. Loans are back above pre-pandemic levels. Very bullish for ticker symbol BAC. On in other news, Didi, the Chinese tech company, to hold extraordinary general meeting on May 23rd, 2022. Board has authorized the company to organize shareholders to vote on voluntary delisting of the company's ADSs as soon as practical, according to a release earlier today. As far as other corporate headlines today, we had the Tesla megawatt projects, the 730 milliwatt capacity now running on PG&E's network. That was out earlier, according to the Electric. Let's see. Putin says Western sanctions led to deterioration in economy in the West. Apple talked that the Grand Central Store is taking steps to unionize. Also, employees demanding $30 per hour for AAPL at the Apple stores nationwide. On an additional Twitter news, Elon saying the board salary will be 0 if my bid succeeds, stoking more attention uh, to the embattled board at TWTR. Unusual auction activity today. SoFi, the June 9 calls, honored by the offer expiring June 17th. ATER, which some of us were in. The May 5 calls, 7.5, and the 5 calls. Activity honored by the offer expiring May 20th. And interesting, TSM and Intel. The TSM June 110 calls expiring June 17th, and Intel, the June 50 calls expiring June 17th as well. Lastly, UPSC Upstart April weeklies, the 85 and 86s for April 22nd. Heavy call activity there. All right, so before we go into the calendar and the catalyst for tomorrow, here was our watch list for this morning. I'm just going to go over what worked and what didn't work. Dish, this triggered me long in a swing. I'm still long in the swing. My stop is going to be underneath 31.50. This still looks good. Given the kind of day today, I'm not too worried about it. I was looking at Veru over 15.23, never triggered. Rivian, that was a sell setup on the day here. The plan was Rivian sell setup 40.21. That was up here. We had a shooting star reversal on the day, and it went to target, which was the low of this candle. So that was a nice trade idea if you took it. Crocs, the sell setup was here. It went for about $1.30, and then it just kind of reversed. It hammered out on the daily, so it would have worked for a little bit. It's not a great trade overall. Next, Delta Airlines. We were talking about 42.87 target here, and it went through 42.37, hit 42.87, and then dojied out for the day. You can see that the meat of the action was this morning, and it just really didn't hold up. So if you took those targets, you did okay, but overall not great. Lilly, LLY, we had the buy setup over 304.47, never triggered. That wasn't in play. Twitter was the other idea for today. We said it needed to hold 47.98, and that it did. And we closed well on Twitter today, 48.45, and higher after hours. So this looks like it's in play for tomorrow. That was a nice trade today, worked well. Oxy, another one of these trades that worked in the morning and then just gave it back with the market. The idea was we were watching 58.77 to 61.50 range. We broke 61.50 and gave it right back here to the 63.13 range. So it was a good long idea in the morning, and it just the market and the oil stocks just give it back as WTI receded. CRWD, CrowdStrike, we had an inside bar breakout here over Thursday's high, never triggered. Mosaic, continuation higher. This trade did exactly what it was supposed to do. I didn't take it personally, but it worked. Tesla, I was looking for Tesla to. I thought it was going to roll over, and we were gonna get a sell set up over under 982.19. Didn't happen. It traded in a range. A lot of you guys killed this name today. Kelly had some really nice trades in it. I thought it was difficult to trade. Overall, I'm green on Tesla, but I thought it was difficult. Then BRKB, I was looking at 344, 344.14, and it moved, but nothing spectacular. Square, 118.92 breakdown was right here. It hit target 116.23. We had this level from before the open, and it just hammered back. So if you took this trade with target, you made some money, but overall, there was no follow through beyond that. And Google, I had an order into 2,500 and for just to bid into it, and it never triggered. So yeah, it was tough. It was a tough day. I mean, you know, a lot of you guys did well. I did well. I just thought it was just difficult with the lack of follow through. All right, so this is a weekly summary. Tomorrow, here's what we got going on. We've got Evans, who's going to be a little bit more dovish, hopefully. Um, just watch the market tomorrow and see how the market digests Buller's comments about a what do you say, 75% basis point hike that he's open to. Yeah, this is the article in Bloomberg. Feds Buller says 75 basis point hike could be option if needed. So he's he's socializing that expectation there with the market. So just something to watch for tomorrow. We've got a bunch of 4, 8, and 52-week bills. um, then we've had the housing starts tomorrow as well. We've got shareholder meetings for DraftKings, HP, PEG, Schwab. So we'll see what shakes out with that. NetEase continues to have their conference tomorrow. And earnings wise, what do we have tomorrow? We've got Halliburton, Hasbro, Johnson and Johnson before the market, and Netflix. This is the big cheese here. Netflix after the close tomorrow. All right. As far as other catalysts for tomorrow, uh, leaving Silvergate and Iridium alone. Yep, that's all I got. So, be interesting tomorrow. Uh, you know, what are the futures doing after Bullard's comments? Not much. I don't know. What do you guys think? You guys think the market does tomorrow on Bullard's down? Says Mark D. I think so too. Yeah, I don't know why the market is higher in the after hours. Feels like more downward pressure. Yeah. So we shall see. Whatever happens, we'll wait for the right setup and we'll trade it. So that's what we got. So my biggest winners today, Twitter. That was a really nice trade into 4707. You could have taken it here. You could have taken the pullback here. We went through, flagged, and then went through 4850 into the close. That was really nice. ATER. I entered ATER at I think 609, then averaged, took a, bought this pullback here, didn't stop out here, and just rode it into the close. It was a very nice trade. Kind of annoying, but it was definitely the hold was worthwhile. Tesla had some really nice moves if you were patient today. Um, I thought there was some really interesting setups here today. So a lot of nice retests into the 21, a lot of compression here to trade off of. So there were some decent setups there. Overall, I thought the lack of follow through and the head fakes were difficult. The Qs, scalpable as always. Scalped them all day long. Made good money trading the Qs, but I thought it was not the easiest money. So okay. There's Kelly's anatomy of murder right there. Um, yeah, so pretty decent day. We'll see what happens tomorrow. I'm expecting more follow through to the downside. I'm not sure why the futures are higher, but we'll see. We'll see what shakes. What do you guys think? thoughts, comments, complaints? What do you scalp the QQQ? Options are common. I got a couple of different brokerage accounts. It was a bit of a junky day, but there were opportunities. Oh, you mean strategy wise? I use I use patterns. I use price action. To me, they're all part of the same type of. I don't think of patterns and price action as different things. They confirm each other. All I care about is where price is going, and if the pattern matches up with the order flow and the price action, then I take the trade. You know what I mean? How did you pick your entry point in Twitter? That's a good question. Answer is I don't remember because I don't remember what happened 3 minutes ago. But let me look. Uh, 2 minute. So okay. So this is Twitter. All right. So okay. All right. So I remember this. So we had this uh, big V bottom here in Twitter, right? So I pay a lot of attention to V bottoms. Everyone in this room is probably sick of me talking about V bottoms. But I like the pattern because it tends to indicate buying pressure on a drop. So when I saw this V bottom get taken out, and then when I saw the retest work, I started paying attention to Twitter. And then we had this high of day here. Do you guys see this high of day? And do you notice that we had this level here in the pre-market, 4707, and we had it on the daily, and it was here from Thursday. This was an important level. So uh, we had this beautiful cup and handle here. Do you guys remember this? I think Eddie pointed this out. Oh, no, I entered earlier. I entered way earlier. Oh, I entered here. My bad. Okay, so we had this. So we had this V bottom here. Sorry, I'm reconstructing what happened. We had a cup and handle here, 4707. I entered some in here. Then I added on the falling wedge, and then I held for the rest of the day. It's a beautiful trade. Why did I take it? I took it because we had a V bottom and a platform, right? So this is a V bottom platform, and 4707 was the level from Thursday, and I saw that this was really bullish order flow. So I took here this break. I added here, and I held the rest of the day. It looked like we're looking at 47.44, and then we were watching 47.99 for a break. And yeah, this beautiful bull channel here. If you can draw almost a near perfect channel up through here like this. Channel the rest of the day. So you can call this the test, the igniting sequence, the falling wedge, retest. People came in, bought VWAP, right? And then we channeled the rest of the day. So, I mean, type 11, if you feel like we catch these all the time, you know, test, retest, and then igniting sequence into a channel. This is kind of like my bread and butter. So I look for these patterns all the time. This V bottom tells me there's buyers that want to come in and buy Twitter. Then I look for a base. I look for a first test. See, well, this is a pre-market high. We pulled back, falling wedge, into VWAP, into the 200. These are all the things that matter. When I see the 200 and VWAP with a falling wedge into a previous level of support, I'm not scared. I'm not even if I'm a little red on the trade. This is part of a healthy pullback, and as far as I'm concerned, it's a buying opportunity. And then what happened here? We just channeled higher. So those are the things that make me look at the trade. The way I trade, and I'll just send it here because I'm just babbling too much, but the way I look for trades is as an overall sequence of events, right? Uh, I look for patterns, but price action is hugely important, right? So by the time I took the trade here and I added here, it was clear to me that intraday this whole pattern was getting ready to put in a bullish channel. I, I talk about that all the time, guys. I'm looking for ignition, pullback, and a bullish channel, and that's what allows. That's why some trades are scalps and some trades are longer holds. Same thing with ATER, right? ATER. We entered around, I think around here. I wasn't scared on the pullback. I let it happen. We pulled back in. I think I added right here off of 593, lowered my average, and this I saw as a perfectly normal falling wedge. And then what happened after that? I mean, I didn't draw this, but watch this. Right? What's this? Bullish channel the rest of the day. This trend line was respected, right? Elon scares me. Elon doesn't scare me. That guy is inspiring, man. Can you imagine, like, starting an electric car company and then going, you know what? I'm going to start a rocketry company because making cars isn't hard enough. Uh, Ordinary human. I don't know how he has kids. Is that what his kid's name is? Oh wow, that's cool. So that's why I entered Twitter, and when I'm doing a longer term hold, that's typically what I'm looking for. I'm looking for a pattern that's a signal that we have, we're gonna have accumulation and that we're gonna have bullish order flow, and then I look at the levels, and then I look for intraday trend to start if I'm gonna be holding something longer. So that was Twitter and ATR. Decent trades today. I thought overall was a difficult day. What do you guys like for tomorrow? Yeah, I always watch volume, uh, specifically in places where so when price is consolidating, right? So in through this move, I look for volume to decrease, obviously, right? And I look for candles to be uh, digestive. And then when we're testing these lows, I want to see volume increase, right? See? I want to see volume increase. Confirms that buyers are coming in, right? So yeah, absolutely. Volume is key, and so is tape reading. If you're like I kept on saying, Twitter's getting bought off at the is getting bought at the 21, right? So like in here, if I buy this 21, I was already long here, but if I'd been scalping this and we were going into 47.99, I would be watching level 2 like a hawk, right? Like, are we bursting through 47.99 and taking out offers? Are we getting through that wall of liquidity, or am I seeing a sea of red in time and sales at the bid? Like it's not just volume you have to watch out. You have to watch the prints. Very important if you're playing these breakouts through here. Watching the prints is essential. So yeah, how have you been, Ellie? How did I find ATER? It was in my scans, and I liked. So ATER every few months has these like phase two type moves that just they go crazy. I think that it's a lower float, and it's very high short float, right? It's like 40-50%. So, you know, look at the daily. You based here for 3 months, right? And now you've been curling higher. So this sequence started here, right? This was the first sequence, April 4th. So you had an igniting bar and a consolidation, right? So this is one. And then you gapped higher, have another consolidation. This is two, right? Like I see these movements as sequences in a greater move. So I'm seeing what these three bars as three. So I don't look at ATER as an isolated event today. This is part of a bigger move, a one and a two and a three. I thought we were gonna get through 685 today and run to 830, just based on this type of price action in ATR in the past. But you know, uh, you don't always get what you want, obviously. So that's how I look at ATER personally. I Curbster, I talk about it throughout the day. I'll say, Twitter's printing at the offer here as we're breaking out. I'll try to do a video, I'll try to capture it. Uh, but I try to always mention that for you guys because it's important to the way I trade. Thanks for making me time for questions this evening. Appreciate you. Sure, I can do that. Mickey, give me one sec here. Uh, Double tweezer top on what? Oh yeah, I see it. I think it's going higher, but yeah, I see what you're saying. Uh, I think that's crazy, Elizabeth. Yeah, it's tough going for Netflix on a lot of earnings. That's totally true. Right. So how I trade the cues. All right, how I trade the cues. Let's talk about that for a second. All right. So for the members of this room, this might be really boring because you guys know how I trade the cues. Time frame here. So this is the 2 minute. Exactly. Kelly already took a banner drill. Okay, so as most of you guys, the members know, the way I scalp the cues is I first establish whether we are range bound or trending on the day, right? And I establish levels. So you guys see my levels here, right? 339.35 to 336.80. So you'll hear me call these levels out all day long, right? And I'll say, okay, we're range bound between these levels. When we break them, I'll call that out. I'll call out the trend line, and based on that, I'll start painting a picture in my mind based on what the price action is doing, right? So, I mean, I know obviously this is easy to see in, uh, it's easy to Monday morning quarterback this, right? But I was calling these levels out earlier. So we have a hammer here, right? So we drew 336.80. That may have been in the pre-market. Then I shorted here into the trend line. I don't think did I get stopped out here, guys? I can't remember. Yeah, I think I got stopped out here. Uh, so uh, so this is a typical short I would take right after a big igniting move into resistance. This is a typical play I would take. Then a sell setup here, retest. Here's a short. Um, I would take a sell setup into the 21 on the 2 minute. This is one of the biggest money makers in my arsenal. This is a shooting star reversal into the sloping 21. This is a sell setup. We're off these lows, and it's typically a measured move. I did take this one and I shorted it right into, I covered it right into this double bottom. It went lower. Obviously, it's hard to catch these moves. I believe we caught this bottom here and I traded some of this here. Uh, I believe I sold into 336.80. Then we had an igniting bar and a retest of the 21. I call this an Evel Knievel. Some people in this room call it a halt 21. Basically, it's when you have an igniting bar and then either a buy setup or a falling wedge into the 21. The reason this was a nice scalp was also because it was a retest of an existing level. So that was a trade. Uh, I'm constantly taking, looking at price action and blending price action, patterns, and price levels together to put together a trading picture, right? So we called this bottom, uh, took this long here. I sold it way before VWAP. Um, but basically those are the types of scalps I'm taking all day long. Uh, and all I'd say is, if you spend some time in the room, um, you'll see me call these out every day. I mean, type 11 if you're like sick and tired of JR talking about uh, double bottoms, falling wedges into double bottom. I mean, it's like it's all day, every day. We're calling these levels and taking these. Never tire says bananas, but you know what I'm saying. Like it's just it's like a very everyday type of occurrence. So yeah, like if all you did today was buy off this level, look at what would have happened, right? If all you did today was buy and say, I'm going to hold 40, 30 cents off this level on 20 contracts. I'm not saying like that's a strategy you should follow, right? But what does that tell you? It tells you that we identified, what do you guys call this? What do you guys call this? Yeah, exactly. These are areas of demand, right? Look at the volume every time. Somebody was asking me about volume. Here, this one not so much. But look at the volume every time we test 336.80, right? So if you've got this piece of information and you see a falling wedge back into this level, and I remember saying, uh, oh, I want to retest 336.80 here. And I remember now. I took a quarter position in this one and bought a little here and got stopped out. So this one didn't work, but this one worked. This one worked. This one worked. You know, how do you scalp? You hit buy to open. There's not a lot to it, Arnie. The Qs are really tight. The spread on calls and in the money calls is like 2 cents, 3 cents. The problem is you gotta if you want to make serious money, you gotta buy a lot of them. Uh, so 20, 30 contracts if you want to make some dough. I personally just trade common because I'm cheap and I don't want to pay commissions, but it works. But I mean, these price patterns You could trade this type of strategy with Apple. You'll notice it's not very different, right? Um, volume, volume, not really different. So I can the issue is I'm calling out Qs. One of the reasons I'm calling out a lot of Qs trades is because people in this room trade different names. They trade Tesla, they trade Facebook, they trade Apple. So if I call out trades in the Qs, which I trade, then a lot of people can benefit. If I call out trades in the TQQQ, then they've got to do some mental math and convert stuff. So it's if I was trading on my own, yeah, I would probably just trade the TQQQ because it's leverage. Um, but because I'm calling trades in the Qs to help the room, uh, and everyone's watching these levels, it's easier to just trade the Qs common. But the TQQQ is it's a very good instrument in my opinion, as is the SQQQ. If you like to trade that short, doesn't matter. All these concepts translate to different names. I mean, you could same thing with Tesla. Yeah. Oh, TQQQ is pretty thick, man. It's pretty solid, very liquid. Yeah, so definitely a scalper's market. There's a lot of scalping opportunity in a market like this. It's just not, it's not 2020 anymore. It's not 2021 anymore. You have to really be aware of the levels, be aware of the ranges, and wait for your opportunity. Like uh, in Twitter today, this 4850 was a sweet short here. Like it was obvious, right? You had a massive retest after a huge run. Like there was going to be some selling here. Um, so, if you waited uh, patiently, you had what, a 50, 60 cent, 90 cent short here, back to this igniting base. But like for a lot of these, you just have to wait. Yes, keep those two last two words bleeped. Yeah, Louis, it's all good. Honestly, I like thick liquid names with tight spreads. I could care less what it is as long as it's moving. You know, the Qs do that, so I trade them. Tesla's also a great vehicle, but if I just call Tesla trades out, a lot of people in this room don't like to trade Tesla. So I have to think of myself, but I also have to think about helping others. So around Q's spy. What's up, Gator? What's going on, bro? It's good. Tired. Yeah, that's why I draw these levels and these callouts because they do help a lot of other people with conviction and trades. If the Qs are hitting a big level of like a demand zone here at like 351, you know, and you're an Apple trader, I guess what? Guess what's probably happening at 351, you know? Guess what's happening in Tesla at 351, you know what I mean? So it's a way of trying to help as many people as possible, I guess. Pay your taxes, bro. I got room in the basement otherwise. Anyways, um, to cry. I want to cry. Crazy. Uh, yeah, seriously. I was talking to my wife about that too. Imagine a land, pay taxes. Yeah, that is a big whoops. Yeah, I trade my Roth IRA all the time, but I also gotta eat, so gotta balance it out. I think it's really important if you're a beginning trader for you to think about starting to build a long-term portfolio, even if you have limited capital. Just start building it up little by little. It adds up quickly. You're a day trader. Yep. Yeah, man, put it away. Exactly. How do I determine stops based on the technical levels? So I determine stops based on whether things are working, right? So here, let's take this as an example. Do you guys remember when I said, okay, I want this falling wedge to test 336.80, so I can bid it here for a move back to 338.04? Right. So I took a quarter position here, right, because that wasn't happening, but it was going anyways, and I said I'll add at 336.80 average down and then cash the move. Instead, we hit 336.80. I got filled, and then what happened afterwards? The question for you, Don. What happened afterwards? Are you calling me the Chuck Norris of day trading, Gator? Uh, what happened afterwards is I was wrong. The trade didn't work, right? So I take I set my stop to the point in the trade that where the idea stops working, right? So I'm not taking a pattern. I'm not taking a pattern in a vacuum. I'm thinking about what the trade idea is, and I'm saying, okay, this is a falling wedge double bottom into a demand zone. Okay, if I had bid this at 336.80 and it hadn't worked, my stop would have triggered. But I said, okay, 336.80 is my secondary entry. When that stopped working, it means I'm wrong. It means the trade didn't work. So guess what's happening next? My stop is triggering. My stop isn't determined by whether the trade is printing green or red. My stop is determined by whether the trade idea is still valid or not, and I'm red within my risk parameters, right? Does that make sense? Like in Twitter today, there were parts of the day where I was a little red in Twitter. I took 4707, right? And then Twitter pulled back to whatever 4663. I added here, it averaged down, and then the trade worked. But just because I was seeing red in my P&L didn't mean the trade had stopped working, right? If I had gone through the pivot and VWAP and the 200 here, then yes, the trade would have stopped working. So I think, Don, the question that's just as important as when you set your stop is how you set your stop and how are you sizing your stop in order to make sure you're not shaken out of trades while they're still working, right? Because if I had taken like say 20,000 shares of Twitter here in at 4707 and I had a I don't know 80 cent drawdown in the trade, I would be down $16,000, right? Which is more than my max loss on the day. So I'm constantly sizing my trades. So if they go against me intraday, but they're not proving me wrong. I have the foresight to stay in the trade. Does that make sense? It is, yeah, exactly, Gator. You have to plan your size and your risk management and your trade management way before you enter the trade. And if you're entering trades without that planning, in my humble opinion, you are not optimizing your trading. That's a politically correct way of saying you're doing it wrong. So that's right, I said it. So that's my humble opinion. You do you, but that's how I prefer to trade. Yeah, of course. Like for sure, Stockman. Like if I think that goes without saying, right? But what Stockman said is important. If my target on Twitter is 47.75 and I bought it at 47.07, and I know that the natural pullback level is 46.25, is that a risk? Is that a trade worth taking? No, exactly. Not to hold, maybe a scalp, right? So, uh, for sure, these are all things that there's no such thing as having a strategy without risk management and trade management. You have to be very deliberate about how you manage that risk and how you set your stops. Uh, there's obviously a technical place where the idea stopped working, but then you have to size accordingly. Yep, Don, it's very common, which is why I always recommend to people that they really, really tear down until they've perfected their strategy, perfected their risk management, and their money management, and they're confident in what they're doing. Is a trend line valid for low volume, less float, low 20-day volume? Like, it can be. I guess it depends. Yeah. How often do I redo trend lines? Every day. But this room's been trading this trend line right here. This room's been trading this trend line for like the better part of a month, right? Look how many times it's worked. It failed once and came right back. So yeah, I mean, a lot of trend lines they'll pay you dividends over and over and over again. You know, just depends. Oh, sorry. I hope that I missed your question. Sorry, just a lot of comments. No, in Twitter, I bought this falling wedge after I had entered in 47.07. I added a little bit here, and I also added an ATER. I bought ATER into this breakout here, and then I added here or here. I don't think there's anything wrong with adding at a lower cost if the trade is still working and you're getting to average down your price. The problem is that what people will often do is they'll average down when the trade is working against them. Big difference. People just say, "Oh, never average down." Well, if you're adding to a trade that's working and you're getting a decent entry on a pattern where price is going lower, but it's going lower because it's consolidating in a constructive fashion, there's nothing wrong with adding to that trade, as long as you're really confident in what you're doing. Yeah, absolutely. Like if I have a igniting bar, right, and then a bull flag, that's going like this. Hope. I have no evidence that the trade is going lower here, but I have no evidence the trade isn't working. If I have a candle that goes down like this, right, then clearly this bull flag is broken, right? I'm not adding here. That would be crazy. Do you see the difference? Like today in the Qs, I said I'm taking this falling wedge snapback here, and I'll add if it gets to 336.80, because the idea is intact at 336.80. It's no longer intact at 336.50. I was wrong. Yeah, exactly, Kelly. Like you, for yourself, for your strategy based on how you read price, you need to decide yourself when the trade is no longer working. And if that's the case, adding to a trade that's no longer working is the fastest way you can ever blow up your account. Yeah, well said, Kevin. Confirmation and, you know, price action that's working in your favor, you know. And you see this all over this chart, right? Like, okay, we went lower, we put in a rounding bottom, higher pivot low, igniting bar, retest. Where did we retest? It's not a coincidence that we retested and we put in a tweezer top at 336.80. Like I'm gonna maximize this for you guys because there's no coincidences in price. This is how the market talks to each other and to other traders. Like rounding bottom, higher pivot low, igniting bar. This is one big sequence. Like I will bet my teeth Kelly took this because I know how he trades. I would bet money that Kelly took this in Tesla or whatever else he was trading because yeah, because what do we have here, guys? We have an accumulation bottom, one, two. This pullback, I'm going to zoom in here so you guys can see this. This is beautiful. What do you have here? Yes, yes, yes. You have all the things. You have an inverse head and shoulders, a tweezer bottom, a test of the 21. And what else? What level have we been talking about? What were we talking about all day long? The retest to 336.80. And what happened here? Falling wedge, halt 21, green ticks red, boom shakalaka. Everything came together. This is the market talking to you as a trader. Accumulation low, higher pivot low, ignition, falling wedge, tweezer bottom, green ticks red, evil Knievel. Everything is happening at once. This is the language of price action. Think he's going nuts, really? So, I'm not watching the news. Yeah, what is happening with the NQ? Do we have maybe we have a peace deal? Yeah. So, I don't want to speak for everybody, but I think this type of action reflects how a lot of us trade the market, intraday. Here, yeah. Oh my goodness, seriously, Eddie? Holy smokes. Yeah, I'm not seeing any Zelensky says battle for Donbass has begun. That can't be bullish. Uh, I hope you're wrong, Gavin. Yeah, correct, sir. That would be terrible. Likely, but terrible. Yeah, I'm not sure what's going on with the NQ, but it's very bullish. Yeah, that was announced during market hours, I hope. I'm not sure. All right, guys. Let's see. No, yeah, we knew about that during business hours. There was a lawsuit. Um, I don't know. Um, Something like that. I trade mostly common. When I have high conviction, I'll load up on contracts, but I'm taking a lot more than that. I'm taking in the hundreds. If there's a really high conviction setup or high conviction news flow, so I'm not sure. Um, but TQQQ is cheap. It's $40 instrument. Take care, LZ. All right, guys. Anything you want to talk about for tomorrow? Any other names? Calendar is pretty straightforward. Take care, all right. I will, Praveen. Tesla? Sure, Tesla. So Tesla, I would love to see Tesla hold 1008. This level here. Um, so clearly you're in a range 1024 to 982. Got to take out this 1026.24 for a move into the 1074s. Um, that's yep. We have Tesla earnings on Wednesday. Are we gonna have a run up? Yes. Expectations are high. We've got a lot of catalysts. Might definitely see a run up in Tesla. See, like like Kelly says, we'll trade the charts, and I can guarantee you one thing. Whatever happens tomorrow, it's gonna be a total clown show. It's gonna be chaotic. There's gonna be a ton of opportunities, and we're gonna capitalize. I don't care how choppy it gets. We're gonna find something. EXPE. EXP looks terrible. Are you looking to trade this long, short? I mean, it's in an uptrend. I just don't like the way this chart looks. Your head and shoulder pattern here. Yeah, well, this mask mandate removal is really bullish for the travel industry, and it's a reopening trade. So personally, a stock like Delta, AAL, uh, AB&B, these will all look better to me as far as reopening names. Nvidia, yeah, the chips are getting hammered, man. Ugly. Uh, Mask Mandate is dead, but it like the I was looking to play the airlines off of that, and they moved downward, which I thought was weird. a lot of things like that happened today, where the opposite of what you would think would happen happened. Like the minute that decision came out, it was a judge's decision to overrule the CDC's mask mandate on airplanes. AAL and DAL started selling off, which I thought was weird. Yeah, the Twitter was good. Yeah, well, this is interest rates, right? The markets. Uh, Look at Lennar, Toll Brothers. The higher interest rates are really gonna hurt this industry, despite the incredible, incredible housing shortage we're experiencing. RETA. You want to go long RETA? Oh man, this reminds me of Boogie. This is a Boogie chart. Uh, okay, so you have a base here, igniting bar, uh, retest of the pivot. I see what you're looking at. Um, it's not for me, but yeah, break over 4071. You get a gap fill into 47. Do they have a big catalyst coming up? No, Don, I trade both. If the SPY is moving better than the Qs, I might trade the SPY. Just depends on what's moving. Matter. Um, and I love trading Tesla. It's probably my favorite vehicle. But there's people calling Tesla out in here all day long. Between Eddie and Kelly, they got that kind of coverage. So I don't feel like I need to call every single tick of Tesla out. I trade it every day a lot. So great vehicle. Yeah, dude, it's great to have you back. My thoughts on Nvidia long. Problem with Nvidia is that the sector is really beaten up. You have strong support at 205.30, but right now you're in a kind of a no man's land uh, type of consolidation. You might catch a bit at 205.30, but it's kind of an ugly chart. You had your distribution area here. You sold, bounced, sold, bounced, tried to break out, failed, and now you're pulling back to 205.30. At some point, I think the bulls are going to give up on Nvidia, despite what an amazing company it is. So if the market decides to go lower and you break 205.30, it's going to get it's going to get ugly. So given the weakness of the sector, for me personally, I'm staying away. But do I think it's going to go higher and retest 350 one day? Absolutely. DraftKings. Uh, DraftKings is in a clear downtrend. Uh, you just broke this initial breakout pivot and you're beneath it. I don't know. $12 is next. Is all I gotta say. If you look closer, you have lower pivot low, lower pivot low, lower pivot low, and this looks like it's gonna make a new low. Clearly, you're in a downtrending channel here within a larger downtrend. Um, so yeah, there's nothing to do except short it, and we had a short at 25.88 and it short at 42.24. So now am I gonna short a $15 stock? Probably not. When I like to enter shorts in stocks like, I mean, this is not an exciting name, but you know, this is a distribution top, right? Dallas just beginning to break down here. This is a short with potential. Cisco. We called this out a couple of weeks ago. Here is here's your distribution top. Here's your ledge, bearish ledge. We sold the low of this, and now we're looking for a measured move downside. There's a lot of room. There's a lot of uh, possibility for this name to move lower. With a name like DraftKings that's been selling off since February 2021 at $73. Like, how much more are you gonna squeeze out of a short in here? I don't know what's going on. I gotta look into Ford. Um, Ford is a kind of no man's land. You had your primary pivot at 1643. So this was your cup breakout here, consolidation, climactic top. You retested 1643, you failed. Now you're underneath the 200. I'm not going to short Ford because it's a value name that people are going to want buy, but you have a short at 1643. Really believe strongly in shorting the same, but shorting Ford is like shorting Disney, man. People uh, bid these up just because of their brand names, you know. That's not for me. Docu. Ugh. Oh, the pain. Like the Titanic with the bodies in it underwater. Look at this pain and suffering. My goodness. So massive gap down is still trending lower. So if Docu manages to get back over 100 and puts in a higher pivot low, then you could argue that this was your accumulation bottom and you're gonna start a phase two uptrend and fill the gap. But until it does that, it's going sideways to lower, you know. So not sure what else there's to say. Be pretty ugly. What's up, General? So all is layers of probability, 100%, sir. That way. All right, guys. Anything else? Should be an interesting week. Prepare yourselves for chop for sure. Be mentally ready for a choppy week, unfortunately. But we'll find some opportunities for sure. Okay, guys. I'm gonna stop the recording here. Things uploaded, and your recording should be in the portal shortly. All right, guys. You too, Louie. Take care, everyone. We'll see you in the morning.